Don't get excited. Next thing I know, we're in the middle of 9/11. Days and weeks and months that followed. This is probably the most tense time of my life.
What kind of obnoxious insanity is this?
You want to do a thing, money is going to be necessary.
When you really understand what money is, then you will understand how money works.
The average billionaire takes around 63 years of age.
That a millionaire will end his life in poverty.
Is going to make you miserable. What's going to make you work is this.
Mind, body, soul. Mind, body, soul. Let the music roll. Feel the rhythm grow. Mind, body, soul. Mind, body, soul. Let the music roll. Feel the rhythm grow. Mind, body, soul.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is a beautiful sunny day here in West of Scotland, and I'm delighted that you're here. We're going to talk about money and so much more in this episode. I am your lovely host, John Morris, the artist, author, and coach for the creative mind. And today we are talking about a topic that many people around social media seem to get hung up on. If you listen to the social media experts in the world, they will be telling you, you need to be working, you need to be hustling, you need to do this, you've only so much time, and it just gets absolutely stupid and ludicrous. And they will also tell you that you are, sort of a piece of garbage, basically. If you're a brokey, if you don't sell your soul to the devil for money. In today's show, we're going to talk about what money actually is, how it can be used, the fact that the love of money is not exactly true, and so many things else that's going on. We're going to be talking about the importance of not selling your soul for money and what it really means to be incredibly wealthy at the end of your life. And with that, we're going to jump to our first clip today. Because I think this guy's got some interesting things to share with regards to money, and it'll certainly get us kicked off. Enjoy.
Preston and Bo Hansen, these are financial planners. They said it takes approximately 27 years for a person to accumulate their first million, which is 5.3 million Americans. And it takes approximately an additional 14 more years for these same people to hit $1 billion, which is 700 Americans. I'm assuming they take it from 18 years old. Let's just say 22 years old, you go into the workforce. 27 years later, 49 years old, you make your first million. And the average billionaire, 700 of them in America, add another 14 years to that. So 63 years old is when the average billionaire becomes a billionaire. That doesn't mean Zuck, that doesn't mean Musk, that doesn't mean Gates, but the average billionaire takes around 63 years of age to become a billionaire. You want some more crazy stats? Let me give you some of this here. So white people and Asians are 4 times more likely to make the million mark than black or Hispanic. It's so bad they didn't even put Middle Easterns in there because I'm neither white, nor Asian, nor black or Hispanic. What the hell does this say about Middle Easterns? 59% of millionaires made their first million with entrepreneurship, 20% by inheritance, 21% by working, but this last one is crazy. You ready? There is a 44.1% chance that a millionaire will end his life in poverty.
So that's really interesting, as you can hear. The thing that everybody needs to know about money is every one of us will end our lives without it. It's as simple as that. You can't take anything with you from this life into the next. And if you think you can, you're deluding yourself. So that's something you've got to be very much aware of with regards to money. So first of all, you've got to understand what money is. Money is a tool. Okay, money is nothing more than a tool. It is a means of exchange for services provided. So I do paintings. You've seen them, and you've seen them on thejohnmorris.co.uk. You've seen them all over social media and everything. You're probably sick of seeing them by now. But I do paintings for people around the world. Now, when I do those paintings for people, I get paid. It's a really cool exchange. I get paid, and I get paid rather handsomely. That's all that money is. It is a means of service. It is a means of exchange. I do something for you, you pay me. You do something for me, I pay you. Money is meant to be kept in circulation. So this is the other misconception about money, is that you get hold of it, you keep on to it, and you hold on to it as long as you possibly can. That's a great way to go broke. Because at the end of the day, if you aren't using money to build something, then your money is going to decrease in value. And the Bible talks about that a lot. Even the little that someone has been given will be taken away from them. In other words, if you don't use what you've got, then there's no point in having it. It would be like having an arm that you don't pick your nose with, or a leg that you don't kick a ball with. Not personal experience. I just got to, clarify, certainly on the football. But it must flow. It all must flow. It's really important that money flows because, again, it flows into you and out of you. It is a spiritual exchange as well. And a lot of people get tripped up on that. They sit there, and as you're going to hear from a podcaster later on and a show host later on, if your pursuit is just purely in going for money, and that's all you're interested in is money, 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 you will become miserable. You will become poor. Money in itself and the pursuit of money, the pursuit of wealth, the pursuit of fame will make it dance from you. What you want to really be looking at is, how can I add value to somebody's life? People pay me through the mental health practice to sit and listen to them, to feed back to them, information, stuff that I've observed, and they pay me very handsomely to help them, to guide them, because I'm spotting things about their life that they're not spotting themselves. We then put together a strategy. Okay, so that is, again, that means of exchange, but it's me providing value. It's me providing value beyond the obvious. And that is, the more that you can do that over and over and over again, that is the best thing you can do with your money. The third thing that I want you to remember about money, and I hope you're jotting some of these down. If you haven't, go back and watch. But when people say, money is just the root of all evil, money is disgraceful, money is despicable, again, it's really not. Money is not the root of all evil. Okay, money really is not the root of all evil. How the money is used is the root of all evil. Like social media, for example, it can be used for amazing good to reach people around the world, to provide your services to people around the world, or it can be used to literally tear down, destroy, and break a person's life completely. The same as fire. Fire can be used to warm the house or burn the down thing to the ground. Water can be used to cleanse a child or burn the little mite. Yeah, it's how we use it. So it's your relationship to money. There is nothing wrong or ungodly with somebody saying, I want to be a millionaire. Because here's the thing, if you're like me, I live very, very simply. I've got a really simple, minimalist life that I love and I enjoy, because the more that you have, the more you've got to insure, the more you've got to sell it for a profit and take care of everything, and all the stuff that's going on. But the minimalist side of things allows you to focus on what really matters. And what really matters is, okay, you've got a beautiful house over, roof over your head. You've got a studio. You've apparently got a studio where the green screen is moving around. We've got a little bit of a breeze coming here, but nothing like what they've got going on in Florida right now in the hurricane. We send our thoughts, our love, and our prayers for our friends and family and all the people obviously watching this worldwide. But back to the point, it's all about how you use the money. And if you, again, like I say, like me, you minimalist, and you end up with a lot of money, you have the opportunity to really add massive value to many people's lives. The other thing that is really interesting about it, I've worked with millionaires around the world, and it's been super enlightening that they have to make a minimum of 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, $1 million a year. Otherwise, their lifestyle will literally overtake, their spending, or their spending will overtake their lifestyle. Because at the end of the day, they are not living within their means, and they are not focused on what really matters. They're focused on acquiring the money. So that's something really interesting. The final thing I'm going to say just about this, because it's on my mind, is there are certain influencers out there. And I was going to name them. I thought, I'm going to name it. And God showed me, don't out them. Don't out them. You know who they are. If you follow social media, if you follow money people, if you follow, a lot of, business folks, shall we say, out there, you'll know who I mean. That say, man, you've got to be getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You got to be, you can't afford to sleep in. You can't have time for other people. You can't do anything. Can't do anything that you enjoy. You need to make money as fast as possible. You need to make money in the best way possible, and in the fastest, and they get so fixated on this. And if you're someone like me, that is, as they say, hustled, and I hate that phrase, because to hustle means to take something from someone unethically. But if you are someone like me who works from the time that he gets up to the time he goes to bed, literally has put the hours in, has sacrificed health, has sacrificed mind, has sacrificed a lot of stuff, and you're being told that, you're not good enough because you haven't made, hundreds of billions of dollars, because you haven't done this, because you haven't done that. That gets really frustrating, and you have to be able to switch off from that. Now, I get there are some incredibly lazy people out there that just will not do the work. And to them, that message is meant as something to inspire you, to educate you, to get your butt moving from the sofa, to get you from where you are to where you want to be. But for somebody who's really working hard, for somebody who's really focused, who's really pushing everything, and they put in everything that they've got, and they're towing the carriages and the horses on the back and everything, and they're towing as much as they can. It is one of the most deflating things that a person can hear. So the best thing you can do for a lot of these social medias, the V's, the W's, the C's, the T's, all of them, if you are the one who's committed to getting from where you are to where you want to be, and you're putting in the work and you're putting in the effort to become wealthy, then you just switch off from them and move forward. That's one of the biggest things you can do. As I always say, don't listen to the media. Don't always listen to social media. We're going to see a clip of this, prime example right here. And this is from a video called The Reason That You'll Never Become a Millionaire. And this goes on to talk about a little bit of what I've just been mentioning. And this is about sleep.
If you're in your 20s, 30s, you're like, I want to go light it up, great. You don't have kids, go work your tail off. Even when you have kids, by the way, you're not going to get a lot of sleep. One thing I've realized is when I had kids, I realized how little sleep I can go on. When I was single, I'm like, oh, you probably need 8 hours. I know. No, you don't. You can go on a lot of sleep. I've had 4 kids back to back to back to back while I'm running businesses. And trust me, kids will sleep in a bed while you're going to sleep. They're going to wake your ass up 2-3 times a night, right, while you're going through it. Then later on, when the kids get older, when one gets sick, the next one gets sick, the next one gets sick, the next one gets sick, you get sick, your wife gets sick, the nanny. So that cycle is going to be going. So no matter what, sleeping in and being casual, lazy, forget about it if that's who you are, not going to help you. Number 2, take.
Okay, so let's unpack this one a little bit before we go to number 2, because if you do not sleep a minimum of 8 hours a night, as I've covered in other shows, other things, your body doesn't have the regeneration that it needs to repair physical health, internal health, illness health. Literally, you will be burning the candle at both ends. And yeah, great, you can do that for a little while. Some people can get by very, very easily on little sleep. But scientifically, it is not good for you in the long term. Because imagine this. So, for example, you sleep 8 hours a night, okay? Sort of minimum. You sleep 8 hours a night, minimum, maximum, whatever. What happens then is you have 80% regeneration in your body. So your body is healing itself when you're asleep. Okay, so why do you think the aches and pains go away? Why do you think the cut on your hand suddenly disappeared? Well, it's because your body is regenerating itself overnight, and it's knitting itself back together, and it does its best work when you're asleep. If you're only getting 3 or 4 hours sleep, well, if you do that in percentages, you're only getting 30 or 40% regenerative power. Now you can go and you can go and you can go and you can be passionate and you can love what you do, but at some point, bang, it is going to crash for you, and it may crash in the form of a heart attack. It may crash for you in the form of colitis. It may crash for you in the form of whatever, fill in the blank. Okay, so it's really important that you do learn how to get sleep. I remember Steve Harvey talking about this, and Steve, I am going to name you. And literally, Steve Harvey said, "Man, if you want to be a millionaire, there's no way that you can sleep, more than 5 hours a night, because I've done all these things. I own all these businesses. I've got to be on TV. I've got to do this and I've just got to be up. I can't sleep more than 8 hours a night." And immediately, it was like the voice of God jumped through my mouth, and I said it to the TV, and I said, wow, by your own admission, you're not necessarily the most intelligent person. And Steve Harvey said that. So what it means to me is if you need to be working 16, 17, 18 hours a day, it means that you're not really bright because you haven't found a way to make money while you sleep. Now, you can do stocks and shares, you can do investments, you can do business that doesn't need you to be there. You can do automated services, courses. I can literally walk you through a whole layer of things that I can do while I'm sleeping. Because if you're a guy like me with colitis and you don't know, hey, you might be doing fine today, but here's the thing. Colitis medication can cause heart palpitations, which can actually lead to heart attacks, okay? That's something. Second thing is, so you need to really, be very, very careful about this. The second thing is that colitis by itself is trying to suck out your essence. It's trying to suck out your core. It's trying to essentially eat you from the inside. It's attacking your digestive system. Now, if you're not able to sleep, it means you're not able to fight off and do the stuff that you need to do. If you're not able to take that time away from work, from business, from making all that money and everything else, then what happens is you haven't got the recuperative powers to deal with all of these things. So what I say is to anybody who says, man, I'm crunching it, I'm working 50, 60, 70, 100, 150 hours a week, even though there's 168, you get the picture. What I say to you is you're an absolute clown. Yes, you're hustling, you're working hard, you're doing the stuff that you believe you're meant to do because you've listened to the social media influencers. Here's the thing. If you have any sense about you at all, you put in the work when you are young. Okay, now when we talk about this in courses and books and things, I literally break this down from teenage or from childhood to sort of 20s. You should be learning. That should be your primary focus. You should be learning. Secondly, when you reach 30s to 50s, you want to be doing. Do. When you get into your 60s onwards, you want to be teaching. That is, you don't want to be a life coach when you're 15, 16 years old. Believe me, you haven't got enough experience. Okay, I can honestly say that. I wanted to do life coaching when I was 18, back in a time when Tony Robbins was one of the only ones doing it. Okay, not like every Tom, Dick, and Harry now, but that is the reality. You need to know, again, what season of life you are in. And ultimately, you also need to know what kind of lifestyle you want. If you live out in the United States, maybe you need to make, $100,000 or more in order to be able to live the lifestyle that you have. Over here in the UK, not so much, thankfully. Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to be working 80, 90, 100 hours. I've done it. It ain't fun. And you can only do that for so long. So to all of those big social media influencers, like, man, I'm just crushing it. I'm making $100 billion a year. Look at what you are sacrificing in order to do it. Now, some people don't have a problem with that. That's fine. But when you start putting that onto other people and say, you need to be crushing it. You need to be, working from the time you get up to the time you go to bed. Yes, maybe. But you also need time to step away, to breathe, to focus, to recognize that, look, when you close your eyes for the final time, when I close my eyes for the final time, it'll be like we were never here. And your millions and bajillions and trillions of dollars won't mean a thing to the Tates of the world. Do you really think people are going to remember you because you were, a billionaire, a bad boy, a playboy, pimp, whatever you want to call yourself, to the Gary V's, to the Cody Sanchez's, to Alex Amonzi, who I love dearly, and I think is phenomenal at what he does. I get there are some really lazy people out here, and I know I'm probably ranting about this. I get there are some lazy people out there that need that motivation, that need that passion, need that push. But at the end of the day, you cannot take it with you. You cannot take it with you. Do not sacrifice your life now for wealth and for money, because it really doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter. Let's move on, shall we? And we're going to look. Obviously, we could talk about taking care of health. So again, if you want to be the millionaire, again, what I would say is you got to look at, first of all, where you're putting your focus, where you're spending your time, how you're spending your money. You want to look at, yes, your health's going to be a big part of it, but health comes as a byproduct of wealth. You want to be looking at what are you investing in now, and the thing that you should be investing the most is your skills. You need to know, again, how to invest, how to take money. We never make money. We always take money. That's something, again, people forget that. People have no idea. Anyway, I digress. But literally, money is incredibly powerful. And as we're going to see in this next clip, you're going to see just how powerful it is.
The great facilitator. If you want to do a thing, money is going to be necessary. And you can do incredible things. Like when people are like, bro, he's got $320 billion. Like, how could you ever spend that in a lifetime? I'm like, I could do that on a long weekend. Do you people not know about companies, buying companies, like the things you're trying to create? So that's crazy to me. You can do a lot with money. You can build, but really big things take an obscene amount of money. So the thing to really just think about is, all right, I'm worth $2 million on paper. But inside my body, when I'm alone, I don't have the neurochemistry that feels good. And I'm like, why don't I? And then I realized because I'm pursuing a product I don't care about, I'm just a slick marketer, which does not make me feel better about myself. It's a skill set, but I am wired for connection. And so I felt this tremendous distance. It's funny because now we talk about authenticity and community. These words didn't exist back then in that format. So I was just like, I feel so isolated. I'm not really being who I am. Like this just doesn't feel good. And I don't even use my own product in my own company. The phrase I had was, I want to feel alive. And so I went to my partners and I said, here's your equity back. I'm not going to cross the finish line, so I don't want anything for this, but I need to go do something that makes me feel alive. And long story short, they end up saying, we feel the same. What would we have to build together to keep working together? And so I end up not leaving, but it just changed our approach. And the next company becomes Quest and it blows up huge. And so the tremendous irony was once I stopped leading with I'm here to get rich, which when I was worth 2 million was my stated goal every day. I'll do whatever it takes within my code of ethics, but within my code of ethics, I'll do whatever it takes to get rich. And once I started saying, I may never get rich, so I just want to struggle against something that really matters to me. Now you're focused on value. And so I was focused on adding value to somebody else's life. And then that made me feel better inside. When I was alone, I was like, yo, you're fighting for these people. Like you're a warrior for these people. And that gave me a frame of reference to push through all the hard stuff and to keep going in hard days. And that earned my own respect. Once you have your own respect, now when you're alone in the shower, you're like, yeah, I'm still dirt poor, but I feel good about who I am, what I'm becoming, how hard I work, all of those things.
So Tom is completely right there. And that's one of the things that people need to be aware of is that little bit more. It's more about how you can serve. That's really the secret to making money. The more people you serve, the more money you're going to make. Okay. People get their prayer life really, really screwed up. So they will turn around and say, well, God, I just want you to give me, give me, give me, give me. To which God responds with, well, I want you to give me, give me, give me, give me, give me. It's like, what are you going to give me? I'm not a mobile ATM machine. But when you say, God, how may I serve? How genuinely can I serve? How can I help somebody else today? God then responds with, how may I serve? And when you understand that it's that service, and that's why you build the skills. You build skills so as you can be a better service. You can be of more value to the marketplace. You can do these amazing things that are fun. In a show a couple of weeks ago, we covered how when the majority of people retire, they usually last, I think it's maybe 68. It's maybe now to 72. I don't know what it was exactly. But it's only a few years. Why? Because you stop being of service. You stop being of value. When you stop being of service and value, you how can I put this? You decrease. That's the best way of putting it. If you are being of value, if you're being passionate, if you're doing something worthwhile, even if you're struggling, even if you're not making any money at all, even if you've only a few followers that will watch your show every single week, that come in and come out, see what the heck you're doing, and then bugger off. If you still feel like you're being of service and you're being of value, then that is a really phenomenal thing that's going to keep you alive, that's going to keep you moving forward, that's going to keep you passionate. The money often comes as a byproduct of all of that, and success comes as a byproduct of it. It's a spiritual transaction. But when you reach a point in your life when you're no longer of service and no longer value, yeah, you can have all the money in the world. But if you're miserable, it sucks. It really sucks. Let's continue.
I'd be like, okay, I cannot guarantee that I'm going to get to the $1 million other than a nice, slow, invest broadly, be patient. All of the things that you teach are just bang on. But this is somebody's getting at the entrepreneurial thing. They want to know, did Tom learn something where if I had his knowledge, I could start at zero and I could guarantee that I'm going to get to $1 million? And the answer is no, because if you pursue something that people do not value enough to pay you that kind of money for, either in product sales so that the value of the company goes up or in salary, because believe it or not, you can get so good at something that people will pay you millions of dollars in salary. None of that's guaranteed, but the struggle is going to be guaranteed. So what would I enjoy struggling at is the honest, big lesson that Tom has learned through all of this is struggle well. Now, okay, skill set. you want to make sure that you're going to make somebody money. So I would focus on the parts of my skill set in the beginning when I don't have any leverage, where I'm going to say what I know is the leverage. So I'm going to walk in with huge swagger into somebody's office and I'm going to say, look, put me in here for 30 days. Don't pay me anything. I'm going to add value in these very specific ways. I will have audited their company. I will know exactly where they're trying to get to. And I will just lay out a plan where I'm giving away all my secrets to where I want them to walk out of that meeting going, he just gave us the blueprint for how to do this. Now, if they're real, they're going to know the difficulties in the execution. And so they're going to be like, yo, lock that guy up. Anybody that will do this for free, anybody that's not worried about their ideas being stolen, whatever, they're willing to work for 30 days for free. Let's find out if this guy's real or not. Now, the big trade, the big hammer that's waiting for them, like if I know this is like a game show and I have to get to $1 million, is I need equity. So I'm going to add value and I'm going to get my equity. And the equity is going to be the thing that lets me get to $1 million very quickly. Now, for the right company, I can add value so fast. I will say I could almost certainly get $1 million worth of equity in 6 months. If you get to where I've gotten and you've done the things that I've done. So I built 3 multi-million-dollar companies in 3 wildly divergent industries. So I've done security software, nutrition and manufacturing, and now media.
So it's not exactly a fluke where they go, well, yeah, that's only because, well, you've done it in all these industries.
And it's absolutely true. It isn't a fluke. You learn the skills, you learn the abilities, and before you know it, you're actually able to contribute something phenomenal. With that in mind, we're going to go to commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment. Have you ever wanted to celebrate your fur baby in the best way possible? Something that you can treasure, something that captures the heart and soul of your furry friend? Well, look no further. With paintourpet.com, you have the opportunity to commission an amazing painting from internationally renowned artist John Morris. John has worked with literally hundreds and hundreds of clients from around the world. John's paintings not only have the ability to capture the heart and soul of each and every subject that he paints, but also has the power to evoke an emotional response from all who see his work. And if this sounds like the very thing you've been searching for to celebrate your fur baby in the most amazing way possible, then don't delay. Head on over to paintourpet.com today for a free, no obligation quote and to order your very, very own custom-made, hand-painted masterpiece. That's paintourpet.com. We look forward to hearing from you today. And we absolutely do look forward to hearing from you. Of course, that's one of my little businesses. I paint pets for people around the world, paint portraits, landscapes, and seascapes, nature, and so much more. It's no longer called Paint Our Pet, but you can find all the details at thejohnmorris.co.uk. Thejohnmorris.co.uk. Nice and simple. We moved everything onto one site where people could find absolutely everything that we had going over here. So let's jump back a little bit to what Tom was saying. You know, when you're providing a great service for people will literally be willing to pay you millions and millions of dollars. That's absolutely true. And you can do that as a web developer. You can do that as a marketer. You can do that as a business owner. I've been in meetings this past couple of weeks that it feels like months now, but these past couple of weeks where we've been doing that exact thing, because I'm the guy literally that I'll jump on here, I'll do the shows, I'll do Mind, Body and Soul, I'll do the podcast and everything else, but I'm also the guy that builds the websites. I'm also the guy that does the artwork, that does the SEO optimization, that does the books, that narrates, that, you know, again, I do because I like doing all these little bits and pieces. A lot of business owners will tell you you've got to outsource absolutely every single thing. Every part of your business has got to be outsourced. I don't agree with that. And the reason I don't agree with it is because if something goes wrong, I want to know that I can put it right like that. It's really important. And if I can't, I need to get in touch with people that, you know, I'm able to do. Sorry, we had a bit of echo there. I don't know what happened. But literally that I'm able to put things right like that. Now, does that mean that I can't become, you know, very, very successful? No, absolutely the opposite. Because if you're that good and you are filled with the abilities to be able to put things right like that, you're able to do so many different things. People don't need to pay 10, 15, 20 other people, and you become incredibly valuable because people respect what you do. People respect your knowledge. People respect your worth. I can talk about the history. I can talk about philosophy. I can talk about psychology. That's what makes me very much sought after, which is really supremely cool. And for a little guy from Huddersfield, West Yorkshire, now living in Scotland, it is absolutely incredible. Now, moving forward, so the takeaway from this section is really make sure that you are as valuable to the marketplace as possible. Become interested, become interesting. Study stuff that you want to know about. Study games, study, I had a wonderful conversation with a client yesterday that had nothing to do with paintings. They'd paid me, everything was good and right in the world, but they actually met me through gaming. We got talking about gaming. They've just bought a new PS5. And we got talking about gaming, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I absolutely love this. I love the Xbox. I love all the emulators. I love the NES. I love the SNES. We got talking about gaming. You build a great connection with them, because building wealth and money is also important. That you learn how to build relationships, because people are more willing to give you their money, their hard-earned cash, if you have a relationship with them. And it is really special. It's really, really special when somebody's willing to do that. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Let's jump and see the final parts of what Tom has to say, shall we? Let's see. Where's Tom gone?
Inflation. So unless
there we go. He's talking about houses, okay? And he's got some really interesting things to talk about the housing market, okay? So just wait and listen to this.
And so you're going to be paying a ton of money into that thing that if you were renting, you would not have to pay.
Yes, you would.
You probably won't get everything back out.
If you sell at the right time, you will.
When you sell it at the end. However, you kept up with inflation. So unless something really, you buy it like the top, and you spend the next 25 years just clawing back to break even, and you were paying the whole time to do it. So I think people are just a little unrealistic about the math, but I know your guys' math. If they follow your conservative math, like 25% of like that whole thing.
15-year, pay it off early.
Hey, word. But that is not where most people end up. I just really want people to understand the essence of the thing. So to me, home ownership is, hey, you get a home, and owning it feels very different than renting it. If you continue to pay into that system and you can actually afford it, you now have an insurance policy against government stealing your money through inflation, which is not to be sneezed at. And as long as you don't need that money out quickly ever, then you're great. But if you have a massive amount of debt and you ever find yourself where you can't make those payments anymore, now all of a sudden everything you paid into that system can be taken from you because you don't actually own it.
So really interesting what Tom was saying here. So let's break down the difference between renting and home ownership. Okay, first of all, we never own anything in life. We just experience it all. If you don't believe me, skip a few mortgage payments and keep to, or in fact, just skip one internet payment. Okay, if you're with three, skip one internet payment. Okay, before you know it, they'll have the bailiffs. Oh, I'm not paying it. All right, okay, we'll send you a court summons. Not paying. Fine, we'll put you in jail. Not paying. Fine, we'll take you home from you. Still not paying. All right, we'll take all your possessions from you. And basically, they will leave you out on the street for something that started out. And I'm not just saying about three. I'm talking about any company that's out there. Okay, so we never own anything. We just experience everything. That's really important to remember. That's the first thing. The second thing is, Tom was saying there that, you put in all this money into your house that you're not going to get back. If you sell at the right time, if you buy at the right time. So if you buy a house at, so let's say, in fact, you buy an apartment at £40,000, okay, and they are still out there, particularly around Scotland. And it's literally the bare bones, and you put in 20,000, okay, you should be able to sell that, depending where you buy. If you buy in Troon, for example, you should be able to sell that for about 80,000, 90,000, possibly even 100,000, depending on the state of it, location, where it is, all that. Now, if you buy a house at 150,000, okay, if it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom detached, and you get it when the market's down, and you put some money into making it nice, you do the walls, you put in a new boiler, you put in new bathrooms, you put in a new kitchen, do whatever needs to be done, you can sell that for over 200,000, making you a 50 to 60,000 pounds return on your investment. You absolutely can do that. You absolutely can do it. You cannot do that with a flat. You cannot decorate. You cannot, I mean, there are some apartments that you cannot even change the light bulbs here in Scotland. Everything has to be done for you. Now, again, what Tom was saying is like, oh, everything's taken care of you. If you've got a good landlord, if you've got a private landlord, you have literally absolutely zero say. You have zero power. You have zero anything. You have literally no leverage at all. Whereas if you've bought, it's gone that little bit further to feeling like it's a little bit more yours. It's a little bit more safe, secure. You've got no landlord that's coming around to do flat inspection, which can be incredibly inconvenient because they'll just show up when they bloody well feel like it. It was one of the worst experiences for us when we were renting. And they want to talk to you, so they're disturbing your work, and so on and so on and so on. Anyway, I won't digress with that. But I wrestled with this for a long time. It was like, what is the best option? If you are buying a house, you are putting money into something that you will, in quote, out quote, own. Okay, and that is a really awesome thing. That you're not just going to have a landlord that's going to come and say, sorry, you need to leave because I don't want you to be here anymore. A friend of mine had that recently and was forced to move from London, I think, to Brighton. So that's something to be aware of. If you have the ability as well to build on your wealth, build on your income, build on your fortune, you should be able to buy and pay off your home faster, bringing your monthly down. So if you bought a home, for example, and it's just recently gone up in the inflation, you might be paying now £600-800 a month for something that you were only paying for $300 a month. Okay, so yes, it's gone up. Rent can do that as well. Okay, rent can do that. Absolutely can do that. But if you are sensible enough and wise enough, okay, yes, it's gone up, but you can still continue to build to the point where if you pay that off, your bills then go from over $1,000 a month down to $200 a month, because you might only be paying your car, your council tax, you might be paying your water, your internet, what are the bills you've got? So if you're really smart about it, but if you're renting, you will always have that £400 or £500 a month rent. Now, the bigger problem for many is that they will never have the down payment in order to be able to buy a home, or that they pay more for their home than they actually want because they buy it at the wrong time. If you are struggling to get a deposit, you need to figure out ways right now of, how do I build my wealth? Okay, so I'm going to work. Great. Can you also do something in the evenings? Okay, now I'm not just talking about working like a dog. I'm talking about building something. Okay, can you build a YouTube channel that's very specific, that's very niche, that's going to bring you money? It's not going to happen right away. None of this is going to happen right away. We don't believe in the get rich quick things. A lot of people out there purport them. One of the things Alex Hamonzi put out there the other day that I thoroughly loved was the fact that, remember the drop shipping, remember, the courses, remember this? No, and they won't either. So you've got to remember what you're actually building, what you're doing. So you want to start with your job. If you've got a job, great. It's not going to make you financially free depending what you do, but it is going to give you access to capital. Okay, so learn financial investment, how to make money, how to take money, how money is created, how to do stocks and shares, how to do all these different things. Look at developing businesses if you have the mindset for business. If not, is there someone you can partner with who you trust? Make it not a spouse or a friend unless you're absolutely 100% certain on them. Other things that you can do, look at building courses. Is there something that you know a heck of a lot about that other people want to know a lot about, that you can actually build some income from that? Artwork, books, money, again, and build and build and build. And the more skills that you can build, and it shouldn't be difficult. You can do this with anything. You can do this with absolutely anything. You can make money with absolutely everything. The three elements that I always say that you need to build a successful business is, one, to build a great product or great service, two, to learn how to build great relationships with people, and three, to learn how to converse. Okay, so one, you want to build a great product or service. Two, you want to build great relationships with people. And three, you want to be able to converse with people where they will actually buy from you. And that is so vitally important. Okay, so we are going to move on now, because as we're drawing to the end of the show, I know we're just about to go to commercial break, but as we're drawing towards the end of the show, we want you to really think about what money and wealth really is, okay? Many people want to get rich, and they're willing to do absolutely anything and everything in order to acquire that wealth. Anything. Okay, now that could be drugs, that could be prostitution, that could be pornography, that could be pimping, that could be child trafficking, that could be sex trafficking. One of the really amazing videos that touched my heart this week was of a 93-year-old billionaire who works in Wall Street. I believe it was the Twin Towers. And his most valued assets, When we come back from commercial break, is what he's going to reveal to you now. And I guarantee you, it's not what you think. So we'll see you in a moment. Okay, folks, we are delighted to announce that the Mind, Body and Soul Mental Health Practice Online is now available to clients around the world. If you're struggling with your mental health, anxiety, depression, trauma, struggling to get from where you are to where you want to be, we are here to help. Your mind is the most powerful tool that you have. Your environment is the second most powerful tool that you have. And we work with all of you to help you get from where you are to where you want to be. So if you're struggling right now, do get in touch with us at thejohnmorris.co.uk, select the Mind, Body and Soul option or the mental health option, and we'll be right here to help, because ultimately your mental health is the most important thing. And the great thing about the way that I tend to work when I'm working in session, and everybody else tends to work when they're working in session, is we have a three-pronged attack. The first one is to listen. We spend probably a good half an hour or a good half of the session listening to what you've got going on, what's happening in your life. We meet you where you are in your journey. The second part is to give just amazing feedback that has literally come from your conversation, where I'm looking for patterns, I'm looking for behavior traits, I'm looking for communication traits, I'm looking for the way you talk about yourself, the way you talk about others. I'm looking for what's really going on, what's knitting everything together. And then finally, we put together a strategy to help you get from where you are to where you want to be. So that's all about mind, body, and soul mental health coaching. Do go on over to thejohnmorris.co.uk, and we're right here to help. Now we're going to jump to the 93-year-old billionaire who's got some really interesting things to share about what he found vital and the most important thing in his life. Check this out.
And months that followed, this is probably the most tense time of my life. The pressures were huge. By that time, I was 70 years of age, had a lot of experience in the business. If I didn't have that experience, I couldn't have done it. But with that experience, I was able to do it.
So you've been together since you were my age. I'm 25.
Yes.
Can you define the word love?
With great difficulty. The feeling you have for each other, the appreciation you have of each other, the respect, the positive attitude you carry to each other, being there for each other without any equivocation whatsoever. There's never an issue, should I, shouldn't I? If it's something that is important for the family or important to your spouse, you do it. Simple. Love is a conglomeration of attitudes, feelings. I mean, there's just so much that's part of it.
It's a loaded question.
It's almost impossible to define.
Yeah.
Make sure you marry the right spouse. Nothing more important in your entire life.
There's not that many people who've achieved the success that you have. A lot of those people, let's say the billionaires, they have entered turmoil in their love life or certain parts of their life. But your relationship has stayed regardless of the success that you've achieved. It seems like the success never got to your head, right? You're stuck with the same person your whole life.
When you get to be my age, you look back. So what's obvious to me is that your accomplishments in terms of monetary issues, meaningless. Number of buildings you own, you operate, you build, meaningless. Number of books you wrote, meaningless. Your net worth, forget about it. What's the most important thing you got in your life besides your spouse? Your family. That's where everything is. Your family. Nothing more important in your life than your family. It's provided a dimension in life that's been spectacular, because when you get involved where you can make a difference, where you can affect people in a positive fashion, you can make the world a better place. That's your obligation, right? We're here for a purpose. Make the world a better place. Right now, I look back and I say, I've done a terrible job in making the world a better place.
I think you've done pretty well.
I would have much preferred, at 93 years of age, that the world can be at peace. It's anything but at peace. It's a tough time.
If you could go back in time, knowing what you know today, and give your younger self, let's say your 25-year-old self, one piece of advice, what would you say to him?
Be prepared for whatever it is you'd like to do or you want to do with your life. Make sure you're focused on it properly. Make sure you get it the time and attention it deserves to enable you to say, this is, with confidence and intelligence, this is what I want to do, and this is how I expect to do it. And then be prepared to say to yourself, I'm willing to give it everything I got to make it succeed. Because you can't do life halfway. It doesn't work. If you really want to get there, you There's only one way. Give it everything you got. Work your tail off to make it happen. But the most important thing is your family.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It's a really beautiful story that he has, and he's right. He's really right. I want to share just as we get set to wrap up this portion of the show, or we get set to wrap up the show full stop, because I got to jump to a meeting immediately afterwards. They're going to love me dressed like this. But recently, I had the opportunity to pitch a Hollywood millionaire a really cool deal. And I will share how this whole thing came out, but right now I can't because we're in the sort of the negotiation stage. And it's a really wonderful place to be. It really is. And we got done with the conversation. It was about half an hour that we sat there and we talked backwards and forwards, and I literally felt more exhausted talking with him than I would if I'd been sparring for an hour. And I put my head in my hands, and the first person, literally, she was away at work, but the first person I messaged was Katie, my wife. And the first person I wanted to see and I wanted to talk to was Katie, my wife. I'm not massively close with extended family and things. We're very, very different in a lot of different ways. But with her, I'm incredibly close. Like, she's my best friend. She is my treasure. We spend more time together than the majority. We probably spend more time together in an average week than most people will do in a month, some even in a year. And I couldn't wait for her to get home. And I didn't know how this deal was going to go. And last night, just before, I'm getting ready to close up everything, I got a text message. Hey, John, it's been a really, really great week. We've had an amazing launch of this and that. And the fella sends me pictures and things. And I'm just like, oh, wow, that's great. The next part of the message is, can we get a meet up? Because I want you to meet my wife and I want to sit down and I want to talk about this. I want to hash out all the details because we're looking to go forward with this project. And I sat there and I was like, holy smokes. And everybody was so, so encouraging. And I'm thinking, holy smokes, this is happening. This is happening. This may be the last YouTube show that I do before this deal goes through. Because after this, nothing's ever going to be the same. It's proof, ladies and gentlemen, that if you genuinely keep moving forward, you keep hustling, you keep focused on what you do, you don't give up, you don't surrender, that you keep going through the health issues, because you're only ever going to have one decision that you need to make. Are you going to do this or are you not? And everything else is fluff. Are you going to hang in there or are you not? Everything else is fluff. But ultimately, no matter the amount of money that you have, that one person that when your life is just in chaos, you want a message. That one person that when your life is extraordinary and you've got great successes and amazing things are happening, that you want a message and say, sweetheart, look at what's happened. It's incredible. And so many people in the pursuit of wealth and fame and fortune, they forget their families, they forget their children. They forget their loved ones. They forget really what matters. And then they get to the end of it all and they say, is this all there was? Or is this all there is? And suddenly all those millions of dollars don't look so exciting anymore. Suddenly all those millions of bajillions of dollars don't look so great when all your friends have left you because you're not going to bail them out. Or maybe you've lost all your money. But it's an amazing treasure when you have family around you who love you, who are pulling for you, who are supporting you, who care about you. There's certain people that unfortunately are not here on the show today that we normally talk to, that are personal friends of mine, that are pulling for me, that are building for me. And I would like to think if you're part of this YouTube community at Mind, Body and Soul or the John Morris, however you know me, that you're pulling for me to succeed. You're pulling for me to continue, speaking the truth and sharing what really matters and talking about the difficult subjects and fighting the good fight, as the Bible says. But as the Bible also says, he who finds a wife, a good wife, finds a treasure. But if you pick the wrong wife, it's more annoying than a dripping tap. The Bible has a lot of humor in it as well. And with that, folks, we are done. We are done early today, and it's just as well because I'm about to go and jump into a meeting. I want to thank you for watching, whether you watch live or if you're going to watch on the replay. Thank you so much for watching and for being a great audience. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends because it could be the very thing that they need to hear at this crazy, crazy portion of time in their lives. If you're ready to check out your mental health, if you're ready to go from where you are to where you want to be, then you can do it by checking out my best-selling book, The Battles We All Face, which you can check out on Amazon now. I don't know why it says YouTube, but you can check it out on Amazon, or visit us at thejohnmorris.co.uk for mental health mentoring. And we do have spaces available. There are only a few places available because we want to ensure that we give the best service possible to our wonderful clients wherever you are. And it's all done online, so literally wherever you are, whenever you are, we can pick up, we can get in touch. Currently, we are only operating Tuesday and Wednesday, but we will definitely do our best to create something awesome for you. And with that in mind, if there are no questions about money matters, about relationships, about anything we've talked about here today, I'm going to head off, make myself a wee brew, and I'll see you all in next week's show. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Take care, God bless, and let's roll those credits.
Body, soul.